Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Aces Loaded podcast. My name is Zack Bayrouty, and it's great to have you with us for this edition of the pod. We have a great show for you today. Jamie Ritchie is going to join us. We'll get to know him a little bit. He entered this last week leading AAA West in both batting average and on base percentage. If you've followed the team this year, you know that Jamie's been one of the big cogs in the Aces machine, the Aces offensive machine that has been scoring runs at a historic clip. So we're going to talk with Jamie Ritchie, get to know him and his background, and get to know what he did during quarantine that helped him get to the level he's at now. So we'll talk with Jamie. We're also going to preview the upcoming homestand with our marketing director, Vince Ruffino. A great homestand in store July 22nd to the 27th. The Aces are going to host the Rangers AAA affiliate, the Round Rock Express. And the overarching theme of that homestand is going to be Copa de la Diversión. So the Aces will be masquerading as Los Corazones de Reno. And not only that, not only are you going to have the jerseys and the caps, we're going to have giveaways that are really in tune with what we're trying to do here with Copa de la Diversión, and also food and music, and a great time in store for you at Greater Nevada Field on the 22nd to the 27th. So we'll have all that, Jamie Ritchie, Vince Ruffino, and we'll talk about what's coming up on the upcoming homestand, all wrapped up in the Aces Loaded podcast, which is going to continue next when we talk with Jamie Ritchie. So stick around. We'll be right back, and you can get to know Jamie on the Aces Loaded podcast. We are back on the Aces Loaded podcast. It's great to have you along, and we are joined now by Aces catcher / outfielder Jamie Ritchie. How you doing, man?
I'm good, doing well.
What a year for you. We'll get into the year here first, and then we'll kind of backtrack and get into your background. But you come into this week leading the AAA West. I want to say the PCL, but AAA West in batting average and on base percentage. You had an incredible stretch of 10 at-bats in a row where you reached base. Pretty impressive. How have you felt getting settled in so far this year?
That certainly has made it nice starting off well. I don't think anybody expects a start like that. My family's been joking around with me, hey, how long can you hit 400? So I was like, I'm going to make it last as long as I can and enjoy it while it lasts, but definitely not expecting to hit that highs. But it's been fun, and Rick Short and I worked in spring training at the beginning of the season on some things, just relaxing my shoulders a little bit. And I think as small of a little something to fix like that has been actually gone a long way for me. So I've just been trying to enjoy it and just relax and have fun.
There's the mechanical adjustment which you talk about, but I think what I've been most impressed with has been your approach. You're willing to see a lot of pitches, you're willing to take whatever walks come your way, and thus the on base percentage has been well over 500 at times. But what's been your approach, and has that always been your approach?
Yeah, it has. I've never been someone that's hit for a lot of power, so I think the on base factor for me since I first got into pro ball has always been something that I've tried to focus on, and swinging at good pitches. That was something the Astros stressed over and over again. And so I think that's always been part of my approach. And sometimes maybe I take it too far and don't swing at some pitches, or maybe I'm not as aggressive as I should be in certain counts. But that's something that I've worked on my whole career. And I think this year it's all come together, fortunately. So yeah, it's been fun, to say the least.
I think this is a good time to backtrack and kind of get into your background. You're originally drafted by the Astros out of Belmont, and I actually saw you come up with some of the best teams that I ever saw come through the California League. I spent 14 years in that league, and those Lancaster teams were some of the best. They were chock full of those big time Astros prospects. But what was it like to be drafted and then to be assimilated into that environment with those caliber players? And many of them went on to win a World Series.
Right. Like you said, yeah, there were some good offensive teams I've been a part of with the Astros, and they were while I was there, became more and more data oriented and straight analytical. So it was nice to learn a lot of things about the game that I don't know if I would have learned in other organizations that weren't so forward thinking and progressive. I was there for 7 years and would have liked to have made it to the big leagues with them, but I try to, look back on my time with them and just know that it was a really good learning process for me to figure out some things that, like I said, I probably would not have figured out in other organizations. And they did make me better, I think. And I got better under, their watch. But it was, I've been a part of some good offensive teams, but I think, this one in Reno, I think is maybe the best, if not, top two at least.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. Well, I want to talk about Reno in a little bit, but I want to kind of go back a little further into your background. You do both. You catch and you play the outfield. You can play pretty much anywhere. But when did you start learning to catch, and when did you know that could be a position that you would play professionally?
I first started catching, I think, when I was 8 or 9. I just liked the idea of putting catcher's gear on. Honestly, that's how it started. I thought it was cool just to wear catcher's gear, and I told my mom, I was like, I want to do that. So I think when I was, like I said, 8 or 9, I first started, and then we moved to Georgia, and I played on a travel team where I started catching, and that became my position. And honestly, I didn't really play anywhere else coming up, like in middle school or travel ball or high school, besides catcher. So getting into college, that was my main position. I didn't play anywhere else. And then pro ball, obviously drafted as a catcher, and then played some first base and high A just to get at bats. But when I came here, they were like, because we had 4 catchers at times on the team. So they were like, would you be willing to play left to get more at bats? Of course I said yes. And it's been fun out there. It's been nerve wracking at times. I'm not, as comfortable as I'd like to be, but catching first, and then hopefully maybe some left field here and there. But yeah, it's always been catcher for me.
Well, if it helps, you've looked like a total natural playing out in left field. I haven't noticed any kind of fish out of water type body language from you.
Appreciate that.
When I first approached you, we hadn't talked. I mean, I saw you come up through Lancaster. We hadn't really talked, but I first approached you this year. I saw your hometown was listed as South Hadley, Mass, which I'm from Worcester, Mass, and so that kind of resonated with me. But you said that your dad was actually there. You were born there because your dad was coaching. Can you take us into your dad's background a little bit?
Yeah, so he was born in Scotland and lived there until he was 21 or 22 before he came over here and played tennis on a scholarship to Birmingham Southern. And that's where he met my mom. She's from a small town in Alabama. And then he got into coaching and became the tennis coach at Mount Holyoke up there, close to South Hadley. So they moved up there sometime in the early 90s. And then I was born in 93. And then I want to say that it was only like 3 or 4 months that we lived up there before moving back to Alabama. And then eventually Georgia became the permanent residence. So a little bit of everywhere, I guess you could say, but yeah, he's from Scotland. I actually have dual citizenship between Britain and the United States.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, we've been over there several times for Christmas, and I'm actually about to get married over there to my fiance in December. So
congrats, man.
Yeah, appreciate it.
You're excited about that, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, we went over there with her family in 2019 for Christmas, and we talked about it a little bit, like having a destination type wedding instead of having something over here with a ton of people. So it just made more sense for us. So we're really excited about it. Yeah.
That's cool, man. Well, I'd imagine that with your dad's background, athletics was kind of a focal point for you growing up, and I'd imagine sports was kind of around you all the time.
For sure, it was. Yeah, tennis was actually probably the second sport I enjoyed most playing. I played just because he was coaching tennis and I was around it a lot. My mom played some, so that was my second sport that I liked the most besides baseball. Played it from probably 5 years old until I was 12. So Yeah, it was definitely growing
How,
up.
how did the love of baseball get sparked with you outside of wanting to put on catcher's gear?
I think it was just when we lived in Alabama, I was playing t-ball. My older brother played baseball. We used to play in the front yard all the time. It was just kind of the sport to play in that town. And then when we moved to Georgia, it was a big football. Buford, where I went to high school, was a big football school. But baseball, I always felt that it was more my calling. I guess it was the sport that I was best at, and I just enjoyed it more. Knew that there wasn't, the big risk of injury. I think that could end your career early. And I grew up with the same travel team playing from I was 9 until I was 13. So that was fun to play with the same group of guys and then go to high school with them and win a state championship together. So it was always there for me, I guess you could say.
What was it like for you going from Belmont into the professional ranks? Obviously, I mentioned you're drafted by the Astros. It was I think it was the 13th round, right? By the
Yeah.
Astros out of Belmont. What was that process like for you getting used to pro ball and a grind as compared to what life was like in college?
Yeah, it was at first. I went to the New York Penn League, was the Astros short season league in 2014 after I got drafted. And it was an awesome environment. I mean, they had sellout crowds.
Tri-City, right?
Tri-City, yeah. It was an unbelievable place to play. And I was like, oh, this is amazing. I think that was, before you get to some of the places in minor league ball that aren't so great. I didn't realize at the time, but it was. Every Astros affiliate, it seems like, was always good fans. And I was lucky, I think, to always play in good places. Corpus Christi, Round Rock, Fresno was fun too. So it was an adjustment at first, but I think also being a catcher, you don't play every single day, or you play 100 games at most, because you're always, there's other catchers too that they're trying to develop on the team. So I don't think that sometimes I've had the grind, you could say, as far as like physically, that some guys have that are playing every single day. But certainly, in my 8th year, it's like I feel the mental grind, I think, more than the physical at times.
I totally get it. Take me through going from the Astros to the Diamondbacks. You selected free agency at the end of 19, and then switching organizations. Obviously, you get used to, by one organization, they kind of mold you in their philosophies. But what was it like, selecting free agency and then going to the D-backs?
Yeah, I think after COVID and everything, I didn't know what to expect. I was a little worried with what an off season would look like being a free agent after the Astros didn't add me or protect me from free agency. So I was stressing, and the Diamondbacks called me. It was like 5 minutes after I became a free agent. So that was a big relief. And I felt, I guess you could say, wanted by them. And they, made me feel like this organization where being a major leaguer was the best possibility of the other teams that I had even talked to a little bit. But yeah, coming over to the Diamondbacks has been relatively easy. I think they kind of let you as a player, they told me several times, we don't want to make you feel like you're in a box or put you in a box or like, mold you into what we think you should be. That I think that, being 28, that time has kind of passed as far as trying to mold someone into something else that they aren't. Blake Lawley, our manager, he lets us, get our work in how we see fit, which is nice, because it's not like, you have to get here at a certain time and you have to, do all these things. It's kind of like he treats us as a professional, and that's, to me, that's how it should be in AAA. And we have an older team, I feel like, that everyone, kind of gets their work in how they see fit. If you're tired one day, you don't necessarily have to be out there taking ground balls or doing a bunch of stuff, but at the same time, it's almost motivation to get out there and work hard too. So I think the Diamondbacks in that aspect have done a good job of getting guys better.
That kind of leads me to my next area. I'm getting adjusted to being in AAA, and just kind of the feel. I feel like it's fundamentally different at this level. You're dealing with a lot of players that are, back and forth at times from the big leagues. You're dealing with players coming down. What's it like to be in that environment? You're just over 100 games for your career in AAA combined with the Astros. What's it like to be in this environment? And what for a catcher? What's it like to handle?
Sorry, Zach, you went out. Let me try and better spot.
That are
You're real frozen.
there.
Can you?
I got your back, Jamie. I got your back.
I can hear you better now.
Okay. I don't know how much of the last one you heard, but what's it like? I feel like it's fundamentally different at AAA. I'm just getting used to the feel of it here as far as players coming from everywhere. What's it like being in this environment? What's it like catching pitchers that are, coming seemingly from everywhere? I've never seen like a rotating cast of pitchers like I have at this level, but as a catcher, you kind of have to learn everyone's strengths and weaknesses. What's that like for you?
Yeah, it is. It is. AAA is definitely a different environment than double A, single A. You have guys coming up and down, and it's more of an independent feel, I guess you could say. But we have had a lot of movement on this team as far as guys coming up and down between double A, the big leagues. I mean, free agent signings, you name it. So you try to catch these guys as much as you can in bullpens, and even in spring training leading up to this season, you try and know what everybody has and what their strengths are. And that is a task for a catcher that I think is a skill, is just the ability to know what guys' strengths are and try your best to be in sync with them on the mound. And like I said, just talking to the pitching coach, Jeff Bajanero, and just trying to ask him, because for me, being new to the organization, I don't necessarily know everything there is to know about everybody, even though I've caught him several times. So using him as a tool too, and just being like, hey, like what in the past, like what's this guy done that's made him most successful, or how should we approach this, or pitching in Reno, even it's hard because at elevation guys make good pitches sometimes, and the ball can get out of the ballpark. So it's like you're trying to constantly remind the pitchers too, like, hey, like that was a good pitch. Don't get away from what you're doing, because like over the long haul, that's going to make you successful. So I think just a combination of things, and trying to just work with them as much as you can.
Sure, that's great insight. Lastly, I want to ask you about getting through COVID. What was the COVID year like for you? How did you stay in rhythm? And obviously you're having great success kind of right out of the gate. So what led to that, if anything, that you did during the year off? Were you at the alt site?
I was at the alt site, yes. And so our alt site was in Corpus Christi, the double A site for the Astros. So I was there till September, and then in the off season, just tried to. I didn't take the break that I have in seasons like off seasons past. I've given myself sometimes a month and a half before I start doing stuff, and I think with just no season last year, I was like, no break, like that's not going to happen. Like, just I knew that free agency was coming, and that I just wanted to be as prepared as possible with whatever it's aligned with. And so I think, I threw constantly. My fiance would throw with me sometimes when there was no one else to throw with. She would get out there and put my extra catcher's glove on and throw with me sometimes. So it was just doing whatever I could when I could to try and be ready for the season. And I actually ended up getting COVID right before spring break. I mean, spring training. Right before spring training.
Big difference.
Yeah. So that was a little bit of a hassle, but ended up being fine. And they've done a good job, I think, this year with running things as smoothly as possible and preventing guys from getting it. So, I think that I've been fortunate, and I'm just happy to get the start that I can and hopefully keep it going as long as possible.
For sure, man. Just keep doing what you're doing. It's been fun to watch out there, and best of luck moving forward, Jamie.
Thanks, Zach. I appreciate it.
Now to our other top story tonight, there will be no ace ball in 2020.
For the first time in the history of minor league baseball, an entire season has been canceled.
This news was expected given the current health crisis. This afternoon's announcement means that we'll not be playing ball this season along with the nearly 160 other minor league teams.
That ball is crushed. How about another 2-home run game?
2-2 on the way from Clark. Swung on and missed.
Walker belts one way out of here and gone. Oh my goodness.
Swung on, fly ball to center, chasing Brito back. Socrates racing. He makes the catch.
The throw from Brito is right there, and they got it.
From downtown Reno, welcome back to Greater Nevada Field for another season of Reno Aces baseball. We are back on the Aces Loaded podcast. Zack Bayrouty along with Vince Ruffino, our director of marketing here for the Aces. How you doing, man?
It's good. It's nice having you guys back. It was like 2.5 weeks I didn't see you. It was kind of weird, to be honest.
Yeah, it felt like forever. I talked about it on the radio broadcast, but it's great to be back. And I'm excited for what's to come. We're in the midst of a fun homestand now, but we're going to preview the homestand July 22nd to the 27th. That's when the Round Rock Express come to town, the Rangers AAA affiliate. And the overarching theme of that homestand is going to be Copa de la Diversión. Take us into what not only minor league baseball is trying to accomplish with Copa, which is now, I think, in its third season.
A little longer than that.
Has it been longer than that?
Yeah.
But also what the organization wants to accomplish, because I know the Aces really want to take a deep dive into what this is supposed to be all about.
Yeah, so we're excited to bring back the Los Corazones de Reno this year. We were worried in the offseason we wouldn't have this opportunity, so we're so thrilled to be here. And Copa de la Diversión from MILB is really an opportunity for clubs to give a different brand to themselves, or a different look and feel, and try to create a different night around the Latino and Hispanic communities within their respective markets. And so that's really what we've been trying to do over the last few months, is really learn about the Latinos and the Hispanics in our local market, and try to make the experience here at the stadium on that night really authentic. So we've been out in the local community trying foods, trying different things. We've produced some different Spanish-speaking videos that fans will see over time on our social media channels. We have some Spanish specific creative around Los Corazones de Reno, obviously. And then we're just really excited to kick off this celebration and welcome in our Latino and Hispanic fans, and to kind of experience the game the way that they experience in their culture. So we're going to have music from Juan 1017. He'll be out here playing some tunes before games. We have the Maracas giveaway on Saturday night, which we're hoping will help transform the sounds of the stadium and how we are able to celebrate Aces home runs and Aces runs. Should be really cool and really different from the norm. And then we're working with our food partners, Pro Sports Catering, who does all of our concessions, on creating some really great and specific menu items. So we're going to have palomas here, we're going to have esquite and helmet cups, we're going to try to bring in some Mexican candies that we're working to bring in, obviously margaritas, street tacos, some of the things that we've done in the past, but with a little bit more of a focus this year on bringing it to very Reno specific and what the people in this community are enjoying on the day-to-day, and bringing it to the stadium so that they can enjoy it here while they're watching baseball.
So you not only have the special caps and the special jerseys for Copa nights, you're going to have, as you mentioned, the Maraca giveaway on Saturday. Are the maracas like an Aces theme maraca, or?
Nope, Los Corazones de Reno maracas as well. So it has our art with the Chili Peppers logo on there. Has a few of our sponsors in Colo and Juan. We appreciate them helping us out to get the word out about this day. But yeah, no, completely. Everything in stadium will be different. Our headshots, our video board graphics, everything will be branded for Los Corazones de Reno. We try to make over and really be immersive in that experience for everyone.
You have Thirsty Thursday, there's Fireworks Friday, the Maracas on Saturday. On the back end of the homestand, there's going to be an Olympic celebration and medal giveaway. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so it was something that we were obviously planning for 2020 when the Olympics were scheduled to take place, but some plans changed and we had to pivot from that. So now we're giving them away 3 consecutive days. It's Sunday through Tuesday, so Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. We encourage all fans to arrive early. There are limited quantities available at the gates, so if you're not here within 15-20 minutes of gates opening, there's a good chance you might not get one. So encourage everyone to get here early. But it's a gold medal. It's heavy. It's pretty big. Has our Reno Aces logo on it, and on the back it says "Go for the Gold." It says "Go for the Gold" night technically, so a little preview on what we were trying to do in 2020. We had to amend things a little bit this year, but still a great opportunity for everyone to celebrate the great athletes that are going overseas on our behalf to represent our country and try to make us proud, and we want to support them.
Speaking of going for the gold, I want to talk just a little bit about the team before we close it out. How fun has this team been to watch?
I mean, it's unreal. I think they score the majority of their runs in the 7th or 8th inning,
Yeah.
so a comeback is never out of the realm of the possibility, but they win in different ways too, Zach, which I find as a baseball fan just really intriguing. I like how we can win a 1-0 game where a starter goes 5 innings and then we can rely on the bullpen to shut things down, or we can be down 8-1 and we can homer ourselves back into it, or we can clobber somebody. Like, we win in so many different ways. It's a really fun team to watch. We steal bases, which is great to see back in baseball. Vargas is back here. We have guys, Ben DeLuzio, who is lightning quick, that can steal bases. So we're driving the gaps, we're running the field, and we're playing some really good defense too. I mean, this team, I can't say enough good things about this team.
No, every facet of the game, this team plays well. And not only that, you look at the Diamondbacks right now. I think it was last night, 6 of the 8 players in the Diamondbacks, position players in the Diamondbacks lineup, wore an Aces uniform at one point in time. So there's that synergy.
There's a true lineage, and when you look at that lineup, you have a guy like Nick Ahmed, who was here a few years ago and won a Gold Glove as a defensive shortstop in at the time, the Pacific Coast League. And then you go to the more recent guys. You had a Josh Reddick, who started the year with us this year. You have a Dalton Varsho, who has spent time here, is an incredible player. Playing catcher and center field one day after the other is just a feat for baseball amongst itself. But the point is, you can see future Diamondbacks, future major leaguers here in Reno every single day. And the nature of this season is you really don't know who you're going to see here on Thursday night, and then Friday night they're up with the major league club. Yeah. We have that happening today, just ourselves. So happens all the time.
That's awesome. Well, we're looking forward to what's coming down the pipe. Again, July 22nd to the 27th, Round Rock Express in town, the AAA affiliate of the Texas Rangers. Vince, thanks for breaking it down for us, man.
Thanks for having me, Zach.
We're about to wrap up the Aces Loaded podcast after this. Welcome back, and we hope you enjoyed this edition of the Aces Loaded podcast. My thanks to Jamie Ritchie and to Vince Ruffino. And we're so looking forward to having you all out at the ballpark. We talked about the promotions upcoming for the upcoming homestand with Round Rock, July 22nd to the 27th. For tickets, renoaces.com. If you're going to be here on a giveaway night, we encourage you to get here early because giveaway items are limited. So again, for tickets, renoaces.com, and get here early if you want some of the maracas or the gold medals that we talked about with Vince. The Aces are the best team in AAA West, so not only do you want to come out for the giveaways, you want to come out to watch the baseball as well as the Reno first place team. And the sky's the limit with this club. Trust me, they are entertaining to watch. So again, renoaces.com. Thanks for watching the pod. We'll see you next time on the Aces Loaded podcast.